Hello and welcome to the Year 6 introduction video. My name is Mr. Harmon and I will be teaching the children this year in Year 6. Mrs. McGurk is the teaching assistant and she knows the children very well, having taught them in Year 4. So we're going to have a really great year working together this year. The children are settled in really well over the last couple of days and looking forward to a really exciting year ahead. So let's begin with looking at some of the things that we're going to be looking at in Year 6 this year. Some of our history focuses on the ancient Maya civilization. That's something we're going to be looking at this term. Paul Olsen will be joining us next week and he'll be doing some workshops with the children when he arrives. Later on in the year, we're going to be looking at the monarchy from 1066. And we're also going to be looking at the Battle of Britain, a key historic turning point in World War II. In geography, our focus is on refugees. That's going to be taking place after half term. After Christmas, we're going to be looking at volcanoes, which links in with the learning that they've done previously in Year 5 and Year 4. And then we're going to be looking at plastic pollution towards the end of the year. In our science units, we're going to be focused on electricity, classification, light, evolution, and we'll be looking at the human heart and heart rate as well later this year. So these are just some of the topics that we're going to be looking at in history, geography and science. Information about what we'll be looking at in English, maths, music, DT, etc. Can be found on the long-term plans, which I believe are published on our website as well. Okay, so Enterprise Week is something we're going to be doing later this half term, and it's a week where the children will be given some money to purchase something to sell or a product to make, something which I'm sort of giving them control of, essentially to sort of raise as much money as possible. Any money raised from the week will go back to the children. So later on in the year, when we have a treat day, when we have our SATs, or perhaps after the production when we might want to get some pizzas, this is the money that's going to sort of pay for that. So it's something that we haven't done before, and something I'm really looking forward to doing the children this half term. More information about the week will come out in a couple of weeks' time. Later on in the year, so not this term, but in the summer term, the children will be sitting their SATs tests. I tend to have a meeting in the spring term with what the sort of tests are all about and how to support the children in preparation for those tests. And I'll send some information nearer the time, but there is a test in reading, spelling, punctuation and grammar, maths, and writing is something that we assess throughout the year. So I've mentioned to the children that we're doing our SATs. This term really though is making sure that they are really ready for the year ahead and just really focused on the learning that I've just mentioned. Okay, JYS hoodies. This is something that's come up a couple of times this week, actually. Children have asked me about the hoodies. This is something that we sort of arrange this half term. So in due course, I'll send a letter with information about hoodies and whether you want to order a hoodie. It's something that the Year 6s in the last couple of years have really enjoyed having. And typically we order them just before half term and they arrive, well, they were a bit late last year, but hopefully around half term or just after half term this year, just in time for the winter when they actually need them. Residential trip to Cobner. So this is our residential trip, which we have done for the last 2 years now. And the trip has been a real success. It's a relatively local trip. So it's just down in Chidham. And the children get to do lots of activities on the water and on land, climbing, archery, sailing, canoeing, kayaking. And again, there will be a meeting later this year about the trip, much later on in the year, in the summer term, and information about the trip and costings will come out in due course. That's something I'm speaking with the office about in the next couple of weeks. Okay, PE. This is something that the children will do on Mondays and on Thursdays. And if you could ensure that the children have their PE kits for the week ready, that would be brilliant. Generally, what I do is I get the children to take the kits home on Thursday, particularly we've been outside and they need to wash them. In the past, we've had it on Wednesday, so they've had a bit of time to bring it in, but it's on Monday now. So if the children could have it at school, then they'll be ready for the week. Sometimes we do some ad hoc PE lessons, or possibly we might go down to Bishop Laffer again this year for some sporting events. So they'll need their PE kit then as well. Okay, home learning. This is something that I usually set on a Friday, and home learning I ask to be returned by the Wednesday. So they have the weekends and a few days during the week to complete it. Typically, a couple of tasks, one English, one maths, although there may be a science or geography, generally something linked to the learning that we are doing in class. So it's to help consolidate their learning and sort of revise things that we looked at during the year. If you could help support them with making sure that that's complete, it also is very helpful for them getting into the routine of completing homework to a deadline, which is something that we'll be doing a lot of when they go to high school. Okay, another part of the home learning is for the children to read, and ideally the children should be reading every day, although I know that's not realistic for everyone. So as a rule of thumb, 3 times a week would be absolutely fine and ideal, really. Little and often is sort of, I think, the best policy with reading. So rather than reading for a whole hour, for instance, reading 5-10 minutes here and there, and good quality books is really important. So this is something I invest a lot of time in with the children. I've already spent probably about an hour this week already talking about books that we have in the classroom, books that I've enjoyed reading, books that other people recommended, and really sort of getting excited about reading. Because it's really important, particularly as the year goes on, but also as they get ready for high school. So this week, the children will come home with a reading journal, and in the book, what I would like them to do is just record the reading that they're doing. It's something that the children are in sort of charge of. Obviously, if you want to write comments in, you're more than welcome to. But this is something I want them to get into the habit of, so that they're sort of keeping up to date with the reading that they're doing. If you can encourage them to read, or read with them, which is equally as good, this would be really important and really helpful for me as a class teacher. I forgot to mention, this is a really great website as well, and the link is actually on the curriculum letter. This is Books for Topics, which recommends books for children in Year 6. Also, the Year 5 and the Year 4 reading lists are equally as good. Lots of the books are books that we have at school, but they can be found at local libraries as well. Okay, spellings is something that we concentrate on mainly in class, actually. I do give spelling lists at the beginning of the year with spelling patterns that the children will be looking at over the course of the term. I don't have tests. I don't have a weekly test in class because I think it's more important that the children sort of don't learn 10 words at a time and then don't look at those words for another, a year or so. We sort of do a little and often approach, and we focus on spelling patterns and rules which are sort of unique to the children, things that they need to sort of concentrate on. So I think do help at home with looking at certain spellings. The children will be able to identify the spelling patterns that they're looking at. But I think the best thing to help with spellings is actually reading. The more a child is reading, the better their spellings will become. And a lot of the sort of work on spelling patterns and how to spell particular words is something we can do in class. But the spelling list, of course, will be with the children at home to consolidate that learning. Here is a list, a slide with links to really useful websites that will be helpful for consolidating the children's learning, to help with you as well with helping the children with their learning. Enrich, Corbett Maths and TT Rockstars are all sort of maths resources. TT Rockstars is something that children are familiar with already, and this is really important to help with their times table knowledge. Corbett Maths is a great website with lots of links to areas that we're going to be looking at over the course of the year. So, for instance, children looking at angles and want to sort of help with their understanding on angles, consolidate their learning. There are some videos and some links with worksheets as well to help with that. Particularly towards the sort of latter part of the year when they're revising, this is a great website as well. Enrich, lots of maths challenges, and I often use these in class as well. Lots of open-ended answers, really challenging tasks on there. And then there's some links to some websites on the ancient Maya, which is our history focus this term. And again, the books for topic link as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it from me for now. Please do come and speak to me in person. I'm around most days after school in the playgrounds. If you have any queries or just to say hi. I know lots of you already because I've taught siblings, but it'd be really good to meet you over the course of the next couple of weeks to say hi. Additionally, if you want to arrange a meeting with me to discuss your children's learning this year, or if you just have any queries, feel free to email the office and we can arrange a time that's suitable for you to meet as well. So that's it for me. Hopefully this is recorded. It's been a long while since I've done a Zoom, and I look forward to teaching the children this year. We're going to have a great year. The children have settled in really well, and looking forward to 2022, 2023. Thank you. Bye.